Hi, it's Lil from Made by Marley. I paint furniture and I am going off to a women's retreat to paint for those lovely ladies. And I wanted to do a sort of practice run, a trial, shall we say, on what I'm about to do. So watch on if you want to see me decoupage and stencil this Indian chest with its patchwork top, and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so this is today's piece. It's a very old blanket box. It had springs and fabric, hence all the tack nails and everything around the edges. It took quite a long time, a couple hours for Martin to remove it. It's got wrought iron handles on the side. It's got wheels, but they've kind of seized up at the moment. We're going to get Martin to loosen those up with whatever mechanism that is. It is a really nice piece of furniture. What am I going to do with it? I am recreating the piece that I'm going to be doing for Germany. So while I'm in Germany, you can watch this and you'll see what I'm doing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this Jaipur Pink, which is one of Annie Sloan's new colours. I'm going to pour it into here so you can, or squeeze it into here so you can see how beautiful it is. There we go. Yeah. And I am going to be now I'm going to be covering the top, so I'm just going to be leaving the top well enough alone. I'm just going to be painting the sides. It's had a good clean. It is what it is. Let's see what we can do with it. But this is a piece that I will want to put loads of texture in. So let's just kind of make sure that that actually happens with my brush strokes. This is a lovely colour. If you do any research on Jaipur, it's called the Pink City because this is the colour that you will see on buildings, brickwork. It's very pink. So, but it's not your, it's almost a purpley pink, which is very nice. All of these holes, dings, parts, not bothered about that. This is going to be an Indian piece, so we're not even giving that any headspace right now. So I'm going to get on and I'm going to paint. I think just for the sake of having a nice fresh piece, I will paint the top as well. Even though it's going to be covered and not going to be seen, it just makes it feel more cohesive while I'm working on it, because I don't want to be looking at that while I'm doing this. Okay? Okay, so this has had 2 coats of Jaipur Pink. We know that. Let's just run through the colours that we're going to be using for this piece. So I am going to be using Primer Red, Jaipur Pink, Tyrian Plum, which is a new Annie Sloan colour, as well as the Jaipur Pink. And then I'm going to be using Florals. And then I'm going to be mixing a little bit of the new Sandalwood Red, this colour here, and some old ochre together to mix this colour, and gold. Okay, so these are our colours. This is the colour choice. So I'm just going to sit my colours over here just now because they don't need to be in the way. I am choosing to do the background, the setting the scene of this piece with this stencil here. This is an Annie Sloan stencil. I have no idea what it's called. You just need something small form. I use it quite a lot for the behind the scenes ones, this one, and it's a good one. So if it isn't broken, don't fix it. I'm just checking it's the right way around. Now, you don't have to do this with any real kind of, you know, you're not going to see that much of it. So I wouldn't worry too much now. I'm just offloading my brush. I just want to see if this shows up. Now, remember when it's your back coat, the one at the very back, as light as you can go. It doesn't need to be too roady because it's going to detract from everything that goes over the top of it, but you still want to be able to see it. So you're cutting a fine line of what you do or what you don't do here. It doesn't matter if you don't get it all, and it doesn't matter if you miss parts out. It's not your life's work, this part. I'm just going to bring it back up over the top of that one. And I'm pretty much, now if you're seeing that my stencil's kind of wavering in the wind there, if you're not comfortable, put some tacky spray on the back of your stencil and it won't waggle around. But I like to, you know, live life dangerously. And this is just going to build up something that's going to make it look quite ornate. on the back of the furniture. When I'm in Germany, I will hopefully try and remember some of these things that I'm telling you, but you know, I could go off on a tangent, couldn't I? Right, there we go. And this stencil's been used so much, it's got some kind of wonky bits on it, some parts where it's kind of worn through. But it's an old stencil, I've had it a while, and I don't think it detracts from the design, if I'm honest. Alright. And then for when the bottom bit, I just do the bottom bit like that. I don't, you know, try and bend it round or anything. There we go. Now, this is going to be the same all over all of the sides. So I'm not going to make you endure me doing all of the sides. I am just going to crack on with this, and when you come back, all of this pattern will be all over my chest, okay? Okay, so I've cut out a template. This is the, I can't remember what stamp it is. It's the IOD.
I'll put a link in the description.
Stamp, and I've just cut it and I've drawn around it with a cereal packet. Kind of worrying because I need to find it again because I want to take it with me to Germany, but where is it? Hang on. This. So it's just this stamped on a bit of card, and I cut the inside shape, the inside of the stamp, and I just cut it short. So that's what I did there. So I've got this, and I'm going to run you through the sort of kind of concept of this. I am going to be using William Morris pattern to make an Indian piece. I am going to attempt to mix William Morris pattern with an Indian style. So there you go. So the first paper I have is this one here. Now, I've adjusted the background in this, in William Morris's is greens and creams, and I've done it a purple that will contrast work with the Jaipur, no, the Tyrian purple plum, Tyrian plum, on our palette, which is here. Yeah. So I've got this, and I'm going to be cutting out multiple of these because I want these. So I'm going to do that with that. Yeah. Set that aside. This was half a shape. I only had half a shape of that I got out of a piece of William Morris fabric. It was a bit tricky, so I had to try and make it one full shape, which I managed to do with my limited technical ability. But it's not the cleanest lines on the actual sheet. But when it's cut out, it looks like this. Yeah, I've managed to make that. And I think when I place this onto the furniture, it's going to have a sort of Indian vibe. I've also got this shape as well. This was the original. I changed the green on this one to match more like the Florence. This was the original shape that I put together, and it's got more of this sort of Jaipur pink plus a sort of kind of peachy colour. So we've got that. And the last shape, which was another one I had to put together because there was only half of this as well at the end of a design. So I managed to make this one look like a full shape as well. So, and I quite like this one as well. And I think you can agree it looks quite Indian. Right, okay. So that's these shapes here. I mean, you can see how messy it is because I've still got the background of what that original bit of fabric was. But I'm just going to cut around that, and when I do the sets, because I'm giving away sets of this to the people watching me in Germany, they won't have all that nastiness, but this is just all work in progress, right? So that's what I've got there. The first thing I'm going to do, oh, lastly, I've got this sheet here and this sheet here of William Morris prints, and I've been cutting them into strips because these are going to form borders. I'm going to place this one up here and down here, and this pink one up on either side like this. So the first thing I need to be doing is doing a whole load of cutting, and you know, I've got so many things lying about right now. I had my scissors a minute ago. Normally I'm sitting on them. I am sitting on them. I have a lot of padding. Right, so you can understand I'm cutting up the strips, so I can do that off camera. These are going to be glued along here, so let's get to the Mod Podge stage at least. So I don't really think it's going to be a huge problem where I start, but we'll start at this end just for argument's sake. Now, like all made by Miley decoupage paper, how you apply your glue is important, but there's a whole load of texture under here as well, so we'll see how well it goes on. Make sure it's wide enough for the piece of paper you're going to apply. So I'm going to put this here right along. I don't think I went as far as this edge here. Why on your stomach bubbling? I haven't even eaten yet. Now, phase 1. Phase 2 is to get another one of these and just cut. I did myself sort of cut lines because I was already sort of planning on how I would give it to other people. Maybe this is going to be a bit heavy for this piece, but the piece I'm doing in Germany is taller, so that's okay. I'm all right with that. I'm just quickly doing this in a hurry. I should have actually done it off camera, and the rest I probably will go away and cut off camera, but it's just to give you an idea of how this is going to look. Quick. And this next part is going to, now you don't need to worry about the joints and how it butts up against this one, because there's going to be stuff over the top of this. Now, I don't want to eradicate the William Morris pattern. I want it there in the background. It's setting a really nice scene. I don't think it doesn't look out of place. Well, I don't think, hopefully at the end, I don't think it'll look out of place. It might at the beginning, but right. And we're just going to be button this up against there like that. Don't worry about that. That's not a problem. Now, and the pink one, which was a tiny little flower I took out of something else, and I recreated it over and over and over again. And you can actually see the William Morris. I faded it out of the background, changed the colours to match what I was doing, and you can see it all in behind there. So that will give it some nice interest. And this is going to go down here. Let's just give it a quick measure. Doesn't matter if my other piece butts up on top of it. It's not a problem. Nice smooth strokes with glue. It's a bit thick there. Don't think I managed to get down the bottom. Do you know what? I'm actually running out of Mod Podge. I mean, it is a very important item. No, I'm kind of at a funny angle to do this. Oh. Yeah, you want to be leaving a little bit of this because we're going to be putting paint in there, so that's all dandy. Just making sure that I've got that nice and stuck down. Yeah, so that's going to take that. That's going to happen there. This is where the template comes into play, because with this pattern, this is going to sit underneath on here. So let's get that on. And obviously it's going to go all the way along this shape here. I've only got one cut out, but you get the drill. I'm at a funny angle, so if you wonder why I'm applying things the way I'm doing, it's just because I'm just at a really odd angle today. I wouldn't worry too much about these transitions looking a little bit white. There's going to be a whole load of stuff happening to this. Once I've got to this stage, so imagine this band is down the bottom, we've got this on here, and we've got this shape all the way along, yeah? The bottom ones of this shape, I'm going to stagger. So I'm going to go away and get all the decoupage paper on first, because this is all going to be stenciled and painted over the top of. So I just need to go away and put the paper on first. I'm not worrying about sides, backs, anything else just now. I just want to make sure that I've got everything really stuck down, because if it's not stuck down when you start stenciling over the top of it, it'll lift up and it'll look messy. So you have to make sure that it's kind of stuck down right. Okay, I'm going to go away and do that now. Okay, so I've glued on all the decoupage paper. I didn't stagger the purple shape at the bottom because it's making the full aperture, but obviously smaller than it actually is on here. So I've done this quite irregularly. So where it stops here, I've fitted it along. It's different on this end. Think Indian furniture and think different. So, and the good thing about it, anything really goes. Layer it, just have fun. So this is all on here like this. The next thing, the plan was to use this one along here on top of this William Morris print with the primer red. I'll get there in the end if I can get my bit of cardboard under it. So I'm going to do primer red on here, and I'm going to use my own stencil, which is a little bit dirty, so I won't be taking this one to Germany. I'm going to be using this aperture down this side, but I'm going to be just using the very edges of that one so that I can put something in here. What's that's going to be, I don't know, but let's do this one first. So it actually is a sort of brighter colour than this. I wonder what would happen if I add some sandalwood red. Let's see if it brightens it up a little bit. Yeah, I think it does. Let's run with that. Now I've got so much paint on my brush that I could paint Fourth Road Bridge with it. Right. Okay, so you all know how it goes with the stenciling. Apply your stencil to where you want it to go and twirly, twirly, twirly. Now, am I wanting this solid? Let's have a look at what it looks like solid. It's going to be quite subtle, so I'm thinking, I think I do want it quite solid. So let's just get all this into here and see what we think. It's just to make sure that the pattern's behind it, we know that, and the Indian design is in the forefront. So background, lots of detail and colour, foreground. This should work. Yeah, see, bringing that along there is making this look more patterned. Oh, but it looks like pattern with purpose, not just pattern slapped on top of pattern, and that's what you've got to be kind of mindful.
Pattern with purpose. Pattern with purpose.
Well, it is pattern with purpose because, I mean, I used to do it myself when I started to kind of do these sort of looks. I sometimes got a little bit too giddy to the point where it got a little bit muddy. So, you know, there is a, see, that's pulling that together, and we'll do a band of distress up in here. Like it. Now, let's just get the Mankey stencil and see. I'm surprised Matt's not going, oh, you can't use that, but he's being quite relaxed about it all. I think he's just taking it in his stride. I need a new stencil brush for this one. I'll take this one. This one's quite a Florence on the palette and the stencil brush. Let's make sure it's reasonably straight, as straight as I'll ever get it, put it that way. I'm wondering whether some of this black that I've used before might come off, but might not. And then I'm just going to move that down to where I can join it up again. Yeah, just so I can get to the bottom part. There we go. Boom. So that's going down here. It's not the same colour as here, it's not, but this is a sort of greeny colour, and there is a greeny colour in it. So I'm not going to be getting all bent out of shape about it. And obviously this, I don't know, I'm thinking, who knows? So I'm got to go all the way around. But the next thing, once I get to all the way around, which I'm going to be thinking about, is what shape where. I want something more behind here in the form of a stencil, but then this shape's going to go in here, I reckon. And I think this dangly one, I'll maybe cut the stalk off and have it in the middle. I might be able to fit two. Oh, decisions. I'll do the stenciling first because I want to get these edges done today. I might have to just curb my giddiness for everything and just get the stenciling done around here. The time's running kind of short for me today, and come back to this tomorrow with a little bit more sort of. The thing about this one is it's quite big, so it's going to need quite a hullet looking stencil behind it. Hullet, there's a good Scottish word, it means big. I'll use one of my own hullet ones, will I? That's too big, I think. What is it? I don't want it to come out of the aperture, and this is going to come out of the aperture, so that's not. Maybe it would fit in the aperture, this one though, with this in the centre. Oh, now see what happens when you play around with things? This is going to happen like that. So we know that's that. I've already got that in my mind. I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I'll go away, stencil around the edges, and then that way I've got a chance for my brain to kind of just adjust to what we're doing. I think that there's going to be palette distress around here, and I think I will probably do it. I'll probably initially do it maybe with the, I think I might start with the Tyrion Plum. I nearly said Tyrion Lannister. Oh dear. Oh, not that. I'm just trying to find a, as per usual, I've chucked everything behind me, which is of absolutely no use. So I'm going to go in the Tyrion Plum with my palette knife. Yeah, good job, Martin, that you're here. And let's just give this a little bit of ooh la la up the top, because you know I like that. Oh, see? Can you see it all happening? I can. Right, so this is going to come along here. But when this is dry, I think I might go back along it just slightly with gold, just to really frame it out. And I think that's good. This isn't in your face, this shape, and I think that's okay. This colour, sorry, this colour is not in your face, and I think that is okay. I think if I had put a much bolder colour on it, I think it may have detracted from what's underneath, but that way you can still see underneath, and this is just gentle on top of it, quite gentle. Did you like that, man?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm loving that purple so much on the edges that I can't wait. I mean, this is the problem. I'll spend so long messing around with these things that I don't have an infinite amount of time in Germany, so I'm going to have palette knife on fire. Here we go. Oh, see? Now there you go. That's what I'm looking for, I think. I don't want to go too far into this yet, but I do like a corner, so let's just kind of see that. Right, okay. Stenciling, down tools for today. Okay, so I've halted the sides, the front, because we've got to go back and do all the design work on the front. I'm just showing you what I'm doing with the sides. The sides are less complicated than the front and the back. I've completed the back. That's what I normally do off camera, so I know that what's to come is quite a bit of work. So I am keeping the sides relatively not as involved, but a very nice nod to everything else, so we're okay there. And when you come to these edges, this is the things that matter. You make sure that you've got plenty of glue in it. Mod Podge won't. Doesn't matter if you've got a lot of Mod Podge on it. It matters more that it's stuck down and it's staying down. Right, so down this edge. And as per, I've taken a photograph with my phone of the other side so that I know what I'm doing. Just seems to make sense to me. If it was just a few things I had to do and I needed to remember, that would be all well and good, but I never have. I've got too many things to put on, so for me, this is the way to do it. And I want this one to go across here and right to the edge. You can see there's a little bit of a loose edge up here, making sure that it's all glued down. And a nice soft brush. This is different to applying a great big piece of decoupage paper when you do a little patch. They're more apt to come up, pull back up. So now, and you can see what I've done with the paper. I've put it on in a sort of irregular way as well, which matches the rest of the furniture. Now I can see that this is a little bit too long, so I want to be taking a slight bit off that. Anyway, if you have to pull your decoupage paper back up, make sure you've got plenty of glue, because that first lot that you've lifted up will have absorbed the glue quite a lot. Right, okay, boom, that's that. Now, then it comes to these glorious purple shapes, and I want to try and fit 2 in here so that the shape's kind of central in the centre. So let's just fold this one here so we know that's what I've to cut off the other side of the other one, if that makes sense. So if I put these together, like I'll put them back to back, because then I know where my cut is. This should work out. Martin was really worried because, I'm not really worried, but he's got a bit of an eye twitch with this, because he says that, you know, things are not symmetrical. But I was laughing last night and said, you know, I like it. I think we've been through this before. If it gives you the eye twitch, feel free to measure till your heart's content. But it's not the style of what I'm trying to do, and I think it takes away too much from my fun, so I don't. But if you're like Matty, and there's room for both of us in the world, do you know what I mean, isn't there, Matty?
There is.
The ones that want to measure and the ones that don't. So I'm going to repeat that same process, because I want to make my shape here. Now this happened on the other side as well. I ran out here, so I'm going to have to put a wee bit of a clever band. So let's just fold my paper again, just in case it's not quite right. Back to back with this one. I mean, you can see I'm not cutting them all out perfectly, Martin. Look. Oh no. Maybe you'll look at that, Martin. I know. Maybe when we go to Germany, you could cut out my things.
I thought you said you were doing it all before we left.
That's what I'm saying. You could be cutting them out before we go.
Okay.
Right. That's that shape. Can I just say, Teddy's in the room today, and he's been an incredibly good boy. He's just sitting watching his daddy with the camera. It's because we're trying to teach him to sit nice while this is happening.
That's right.
Look at him. He's caged. Poor Teddy.
Oh, poor Terry behind bars.
That's where Teddy needs to be most of the time right now. Now, where is this? I was a little bit shorter. You've got plenty on your surplus to just fix that. Oh, now you were really good. Don't start doing it now. So, once we've got this shape together, what are you going to say, Dal?
I was going to say it's because I paid him the slightest bit of
I know.
attention.
I can't stand it now. It's all too much for him. Oh, nearly. Can you see that? It's just typical of light. This probably gives you the eye twitch as well, Martin, doesn't it?
Not so much. I'm used to, you know.
Yeah, the fun of it all. Not. I just need a tiny little square. Is that going to fit in there? And I'm not matching because it doesn't need to. There. Right, okay, so we've got that shape. Now let me just consult my picture what happened next. Then what I did was I got my skip brush, wherever ye be. Oh, it's just lying on the floor. Look, I've been sitting on it. Oh dear me. Let me try and repair this with some water. Sometimes if your brush gets bent, if you just put a little bit of water in your hand, don't try and wash it in your pot, and just kind of give it a little bit of a, see, a wee bit of a sort. And it all normally comes quite good. There we go, see? Like it never happened. Now, I've still got my gold here, But I added a little bit of Liquitex a minute ago because it was getting a little bit dry, but I think I lost some of my coloration on my gold. So I'm just gonna, mist the pot. So that's good. I mean, it's the same old, same old. I don't know why you watch me, because every week, let's see what I what. Because it's the same stuff I miss all the time, isn't it? I'm not opening a new one, Martin. We're not just going at it.
Opening a new one.
Opening a new one. I had to open a new Mod Podge. That was enough for me today. Now, mixing this with a script brush is probably not the... Now. There we go. And what I did on the sides was I put a nice big thick gold line, and I was quite distressy with it. Oh, I can see a bit it's not stuck down. Can you see it? Aye.
I can now.
I noticed there's a bit there as well. Just check as you go. Now, what else did I do? I came down here and I went around here, and yeah, then I went and this is quite a large, we haven't done the front yet, that's why I'm kind of jumping around this week, but this is quite an what I'm doing here is quite a nod to the front. Thick lines, it doesn't matter how you put it on, the end result will look quite good. That's what I say. Quite good.
It will look quite good.
Right, and now I actually haven't got a shape for this side, so I am thinking I might do something. I haven't done this on the other side, but I just suddenly came. I'm going to leave that just now because I haven't done that on the other side and I don't want to get too giddy. Give us a minute while we just sort out putting it back onto the front, and we'll dive into what's to be happening on the front, okay? I was just about to turn it when I looked back at my photos and I remembered that I put this elephant on. If you're only using something, see, there I go with that brush again, I need to put it in there. If you're going to be doing one side and you're not going back to it well, just pop your stamp and your roller in a plastic bag and just zip them up so that they don't get too dry. That's what I tend to do if I know that it's going to be coming back out. Now, this is the only time that this elephant is used. So this will be, I'm stamping it 3 times and then that'll be it. It's not getting used again. So I do have this stamp cut in half somewhere in my drawer. So before I go away, I need to find the cut up one, because it'll be better and easier to manipulate. So I'm going to put that about here, just making sure that I've got it all touched. Again, it doesn't matter if this look comes out quite distressed. I quite liked it quite distressed. Oh, that's quite very distressed. Too much paint. Tip your handle up. And I managed to get my elephant just in that groove where that, see that screw is? Oh, you see there? On the other side. Well, man, who do you think I'm talking? I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, I'm talking to them and you. I don't think they can see that little screw.
They can.
Better. See, that's what I'm looking for, that sort of worn. I'm not into... Oh, I thought that was a spider on my arm there. I nearly fainted. Oh. Elephant, and you're not going to get a full one on here. You're going to miss its sweet trunk, because that's what happened on the other side. That pulls this together, and I don't know why I didn't show you it all finished off. I just kind of went on to, I don't know, just shut down mode. Like this, and then you need your plum here, and you need... Now, Terry was running around with my palette knife before.
which is why he's in his cage right now.
Anything with a wooden handle, he's away. It's not good if you're an artist. So, samey, put on your distress right up in the edges. I do brush over these again with gold, but I can't show you that right now until I get to the front because obviously the plum's still wet. If you feel there's a little bit of white there, just do that. Now, starting to come together. I'm trying to be quite quick because I'm thinking I won't have all of this time, but I have planned it all out in this video, so that's a good thing. There, right, okay. This time I promise that I'm turning it round. Okay, this is where you last saw it. I jumped to the side, so you know what's happening on the side, and on the back, I've already tried to kind of put this together, but obviously there's some little tweaks that I want to do on the front that will probably be the end design for when I go to Germany. So the back and the front right now are going to probably be different, but that's just life. And it'll still be nice. It'll just be slightly different. Okay, so when we left off, I was going to show you, I was putting the purple and everything around here. Done all that. I want to show you what I've done up here. So I literally, and this is probably how much you need on your finger, I am going to be putting this spot along here in the center, like I've done up here. And this one here is not very clear. We could put a bit more paint in that. Along here like this. Why am I using my finger? Because it makes it quite irregular. It makes it not too contrived. It's not the look I'm going for, where I would use the top of an eraser. I just want these dots to be part of the pattern. And when you stand back from it, you're going to see that these add a little bit more of the Jaipur Pink. Right, so that was that. Then I got my my script brush. I've got a feeling I might lose my voice today. So I've got the Jaipur Pink on my brush, and all I did was where this shape is here, I just did this around it. Got this one here, and this goes all the way along. Now, I went and put the dark purple distress on before I'd actually did this, and I realised, but still the gold's got to go over the top of this. So I'm just forging on with this. And you can see how quickly I'm doing it. It's not this distressed look. It's just multiple patterns on top of patterns, and it's part of the sort of vibe of what happens. So I've done that now. Next, I need some Florence on my palette, clean my brush, and this is going to have, where did I do it? I can do it up here, so I'm not leaning down. The centre there, in the centre, just a sort of a irregular spot. I can't do that one because it's wet. Like that. And these are all wet, so I'll have to leave those ones as well, but that will be done in a minute. And then once this is done, I then put the gold around the edges, so we're all caught up. I explained about this part here. I think the same stencil that I used here, I just put a little, I just wanted a sort of almost like a kind of dot. It's there, it's not there, kind of to bring the turquoise in, but not really have it solid. So that's why I've done that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take, I wasn't going to use this. It's gold because I've been using it on the other side. And I'm going to kind of try and, now on the other side I did it in burgundy. On this side I'm going to do it in turquoise. I wasn't such a fan of the burgundy, I think, once I'd finished. So I've got my Florence on my stencil brush. I'm just going to do one solid panel and then I'll go away and do the rest. There's no point you watching the repetition of it all, but there's no big mystery to the stenciling. It's just the same as I'm always explaining. It's just a circular motion. I've just washed my stencil brush before, so I'm really hoping that there's not a huge amount of bleed through. I just kind of best practice is have quite a few stencil brushes or paint brushes that you're using as stencil brushes, because really at the end of the day, once you've wet them, you're more apt to get bleed through, whereas if you keep them nice and dry, and if you know you're going to be doing a stenciling project, wash all your brushes in advance and make sure they're thoroughly dry. Now, I'm coming out of the aperture down here for the trunk, but that's okay. I'm just making sure that I just get the trunk. Now, happy days. I think that's all done. Just lift that up. Now, I'm just going to get my heat tool and just quickly dry this on camera, because I just need it dry-ish. And obviously, if you were doing this, do all your turquoise at once. Don't be jumping around. That's actually a brush off a hair. It's not made a mark. I'm going to have to make sure I clean that up. Right, okay. So that's dry now. What you should really be doing is working with 2 different stencils as well, or do all your colour one. You shouldn't really do what I'm showing you, because I'm having to kind of clean this, but just for the sake of me showing you, I'm just going to do the best. So if the gold kind of mingles in with the turquoise, you know I wouldn't be normally doing this, right? So I've got my shape on here. I want to line it back up exact, or as exact as I can get, right? So that's it lined up. To drop the shadow in it, you're going to go down just slightly. Can you see where the pink is now revealed? Yeah? Just slightly. And I have my gold stencil brush here with my gold. Just making sure I've got gold paint on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go round. Now, you're going to have to read between the lines here. It's not going to be solidly gold, because my stencil was a little bit wet with the turquoise, but this will hopefully give me a different look. It's the same stencil on the back, it's just in the different colours. I just thought it was too, I think it looked a little bit heavy, and I think on reflection maybe these colours will be pleasing me a little bit more down here where the trunk is. There. Now let's have a look and see how this looks. So yeah, I think I'm pleased with this. I think it looks more gold on this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our liner brush and we're going to go in with the Tyrian Plum. Let's pop some of that here, and you're going to need a little bit of water to make that move. Now this is still wet, so I would make sure that your work's dry before you do this. You're going to paint round your aperture. We're going to come back round it and go round this again with another colour, which is going to be gold. But right now we're just doing this. But then we're going to bring it down, and instead of following the shape, we are going to bring it round with the trunk and then join it on to here. This is what made it kind of messy on the other side. There was a whole load of stuff going on, so I sat and looked at all the things that I could have done better, and that is one of them. Right, so we've done that. We're going to take this burgundy and we are going to, sorry, not burgundy, plum. Give some eyeshadow, and we're going to change the colour of our brush. And now we're going to use, remember I discussed colour palettes in the beginning, I'm going to have a little bit of old ochre here and a little bit of sandalwood red on top of here. Mix these together. And hopefully that'll give us our kind of peachy colour. We're going to paint in the trunks, not the trunk, the tusks. Like that. We're also going to double line the eyeshadow. And now we are going to put some pinky peach jewels on it, just some. Like that. Empress Silk wasn't one that I initially said in the beginning, but I've worked out if I add some of this peach to Empress Silk, I'm getting this sort of raspberry colour that I think is more, and I'll have adjusted this by the time I go to Germany. So, and now I'm going to just put these jewels coming down on this part of the stencil. Now you're going to wait until everything's dry. Where else do I want something? I mean, you can do whatever you want now at this stage. I see it's not really dry enough yet. Let's just give it another little highlight of eyeshadow on. Let's just bring some of this down here. Right, now I'm going to quickly heat this so that I can go round the elephant next. Doesn't need to be solidly dry, just enough that it's not going to run all over the place. You're going to go back with your liner, and then you're going to go back into your plum on your palette, your Tyrian plum, and then you are going to line your elephant as best you can. And really, that is how the elephant, I think, is going to look on this side. Now, because we did this a couple of minutes ago, this plum should be dry enough to go down with our gold. We're going in with a liner into our gold paint now. And we are going to do a nice thick line of gold around here. Oops. And that just makes that plum stand out. I didn't think I was bringing enough of these sort of colours in the William Morris print into the design, so that was another reason why it wasn't working for me on the other side. And that's okay. It's okay. You know, like, I didn't do any boards particularly with this, so, you know, I'm kind of winging it to get it right. I think that's good. Now, the other shape, I used a different shape. I used a different shape on the other side, but on this one, I am going to keep it simpler. And I am going to be Mod Podging these onto here. So just over the top of this pattern and design work. And making sure that they don't get moved like that. And again. Why is it good to do things like this? Yeah, I could make a decoupage paper like this. Comes in big sheets and you put it on. Yeah, but by cutting up and using different shapes and papers and things, That way you're A, getting a really unique design, but B, you're honing all your art skills. You're actually using skills that, you know, aren't there for you. You're having to put them together. And to be honest with you, everybody would come up with a completely unique and different design. There's so many different choices. So it's good to do these things. Yeah, I think I am already know that I'm happier with this side than I am with the other side. The other side is nice. It's just a little bit busy. And before I go to Germany, I really need to know what I'm doing. I can't just, you know, wing it and go, oh, well, it's a little bit busy. I've got time now. The reason why I'm doing this is to fix it before I go. That's going to happen there. I think because the peach is here and the peach is there and I've got the gold here, I don't think that there would be any reason why, and the gold is still a bit wet, I can't use this peach colour and then do a triple layer of this colour here. We are fast approaching this being completed. We just need to cut the foam. I've been on my sewing machine just getting strips of remnant fabric that I had, either salvaged from old clothes or stuff I actually had, and I've just sewn them together in sort of stripes and parts that I had, just to kind of give it a sort of irregular feel on the top as well. It's a very patterned piece, and so I think just taking the time to make something that I think would work on the top instead of just generic fabric. Right, okay, so you've seen me do this now. I am going to go on, it's a little bit wet, that gold there, and I am going to do these shapes everywhere, do this stencil everywhere, and then the next thing we will be doing is the top. I need to come along and put the turquoise spots in there, I know that, and the gold. I mean, the gold distress is however you want it to be, really. It's not, it doesn't need to be your life's work. Just, you know, here and there, use your finger, use your palette knife. You know, just make sure that there's a little bit of everything there so that when it kind of makes it pop, but also just finishes it off in that sort of look that I really like. And there was no point going to Germany and doing something completely different. And I wanted to do something that I felt quite comfortable in doing, and this is it. So I'll get on and do this now. Back shortly. Right, so it's all completed. All sides are done now. Martin's cut me out some foam, and now I'm going to upholstery. And all I did was I got lots of scraps from the scrap bin of fabric, and I just sewed them all together so that I could kind of there and thereabouts sort of, there's some of the colours in it. I just wanted it to kind of complete the look. So you've seen me do upholstering before. It's a little bit rough and ready, but just for the sake of arguments, I'm going to be putting this over my foam. I did way more than I needed because I wasn't sure how much I'd need. And I'm going to be smoothing this all out. I think my fabric maybe could do with an iron, just to iron down the seams. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the staple gun and I am going to staple it onto the wood where the original foam went, so that this looks a bit like this, but tidier. Yeah? So I'm going to get on, I'm going to give this a wee iron, and then, I mean, for those that don't know, you start with a staple here, and this opposite side, kind of pull it tight, but not too much, or you'll get puckering. Then this side, then this side, then this side, then this side, and in between the gaps, and then you just work your way around with the fabric. This is actual William Morris & Co fabric, this part here, and this here is a digital print of some William Morris fabric. So there is some William Morris fabric in it, and there's obviously some sari, pieces of tablecloth, pieces of my grand's embroidery. Yes, so it's all on here. It's a little bit of everything. So I'll go and give it a wee iron. Okay, so I did what I said I was going to do. I covered it with my patch fabric. This part here is just a piece that I've doubled over just to kind of give it that sort of irregular look, and I've changed the colour all the way around just with scraps. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put trim on it. It isn't exactly the match for the piece, but because I've got all the colours on the top now, remember this is what I'm going to be doing, but the piece that in Germany doesn't have a top like this. It has a like a treasure chest top, like a concave. It's arched. Convex. Could you pass me a heat gun? Thank you. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I'm about to do. So where I've done this, and obviously I've got the staples in it, you're doing this to cover the staples, but you're giving it a sort of a regular sort of look by doing that. So you just need to get going, really. There's no finessing with this part. It just is what it is. So I am going to be gluing this all the way around my staples, but I still want that sort of rough edge, that sort of raw edge showing. I want it to look like it's been made out of pieces and parts, and it's just been kind of, if only it had just been thrown together. You've no idea. I am not by any means good on a sewing machine, so this was the best I could do. I just got all the remnants I had and pieced them all together, and I ended up making too much of it, so I've got another piece with lots of different colours on it as well that I can use again, so that wasn't too bad. So you understand what I'm going to do. I'm going to go off now and put this all the way around. Okay, so it's finished. What do I like about it? Well, I like all its colour and pattern and maximalism and its joy. That's what I like about it. Was it difficult? No, you saw how easy it was. I just had to do a little bit of gymnastics to put it together. But no, it wasn't difficult. I will get back to show you the back as well, because the elephants are a different colour in the back, because I was still kind of trialing, finding my feet on that. It's just a lot of sort of decoupaging and a bit of stenciling, a little bit of distressing, a little bit of loose fabric, and there you go.
Got a little handle on it.
I put this little knob on it, yeah, just so that I could open it up and down. Yeah. Okay then. So if you've liked this video, give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Man, do you have anything to add? Sorry, I nearly forgot.
Just to say thank you to everybody that's recently subscribed, because we've just gone over the 12,000 subscriber mark as well.
We have. I put a post out today on the socials with a monkey, because that's what you do. So yeah, thank you for everybody who's leaves us a kind message, a like, who's subscribed, who's bought from us, who is part of our community, who's part of our private group. You all play a role, and thank you. Yeah, good remembered, man. Good remembered. I know what I mean. Okay, see you next Sunday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.